Hello students, I hope you remember I have already started a chapter that is unit and measurement and dimension in our interactive classes. So here I have prepared few notes for you and you need to write these notes in your exercise book and I will be revising once more the chapter for you. Okay, so during the interactive classes, so some portions might be left out and I could not able to explain you clearly there, so I have prepared a notes for you. So you see here in the screen you can see there is a measurement. So why measurement is required? So measurement is required for comparison of any physical quantity with its standard quantity. Okay, so here the comparison of any physical quantity with its standard unit is called measurement. So this measurement, you see, it's required when any comparison is required, like you want to buy any goods, you go and in a shop to buy it and you just exchange with your money, right? So they measure this one with a standard stone or standard element, they compare with that and they give to you. So next we'll see what is physical quantity. You see, in the physical quantity, those quantities which you can measure in physics. Okay, the physical quantities are those quantities which you can measure, like you see distance, time, mass. So these all are physical quantities like speed, acceleration, velocity, force, so which we can measure here, that are called physical quantities. And units are very important, so without unit we cannot identify which quantity we are measuring. As well as in a unit we have a physical quantity numerical value and its nature, what we are measuring here. So from the units we can easily find it out. So a definite amount of physical quantity is taken as a standard unit, and a standard unit should be easily reproducible, internationally accepted. That means what is said here. So units which we choose, that should be acceptable in all places. So next we have fundamental quantities. So these are those quantities which don't depend on other quantities. As you can see, those physical quantities which are independent to each other are called fundamental quantities, and their units are called fundamental units. Like you see, we can say mass, length and time. These are the fundamental units. Okay, so when we say mass, that is in kg unit, and when we say length, that is in meter, and when we say time, that is in second. Okay, so these are the fundamental units which we will be using. Next we have international system of units. So there are different international systems of unit, right? So like you see, SI unit are there, FPS is there, CGS is there. So these are the different units you will be getting. So in the units you see, like we have MKS units, we have FPS units. Next, in the CGS system, we take a centimeter, gram and second. That means length is measured in centimeter, mass is measured in gram and time is in second. Similarly, we have FPS, that is foot, pound and second. MKS system, we calculate length in meter, mass in kilogram and time in second. So next we have SI system, that is MKS system. In this system, the unit of length is meter and the unit of mass is kilogram and unit of time is second. That is the MKS system, which we have already discussed. That is next we have SI system. This system contains several fundamental units and two supplementary fundamental units. So these are the different systems which we will be using in units. So apart from these units, we have some units that are called the base units. So these are the plane angle, which we denote by d theta, and it is the ratio of length of arc ds to the radius r. That means d theta is the plane angle and we can calculate by ds by dr. Generally this formula stands with d theta equals to ds by dr, that is the plane angle. Next we have Solid angle, it is the ratio of intercepted area dA of the spherical surface, which is described above the apex O as the center. That means, what does this mean? If we have, this is the solid angle, this angle is called solid angle, right? So dA, when I say this area of cross section is dA here, and when we say about an apex, that means from here we calculate this angle. So this angle is the solid angle. So the unit for plane angle is radian with the symbol rad, and the unit for solid angle is steradian with the symbol SR. Okay, so steradian is the unit for solid angle, and generally radian we use for plane angle. So both the units are dimensionless, and here I have listed down few fundamental quantities and its fundamental units. So this already you have gone through in your textbook, that is length meter, mass kilogram, time second, temperature Kelvin, electric current we calculate in ampere, luminous intensity that is in candela, and amount of substance that is in mole. And these are the supplementary fundamental units, that plane angle and solid angle. And derived units are those units which depends upon fundamental units, right? So these are the practical units which we use in our every calculation. Generally we use this one in our physics. 1 Fermi, that means when we calculate the diameter or the radius of any atom, then we calculate in terms of Fermi. That means 1 Fermi equals to 10 to the power minus 15 meter, and 1 X-ray unit equals to 10 to the power minus 13 meter. 1 astronomical unit 1.49 into 10 to the power 11 meter. So light year and parsec is also given here. Next we have dimensions. So dimensions, when we want to write the dimension of any physical quantity, first we need to know its unit. So once you know the unit of that fundamental quantity, so calculating dimension of particular physical quantity becomes very easy. Like we know area, if we want to calculate the dimension of area, SI unit of area is meter square. So meter comes under length, so dimensional formula becomes L square. Similarly volume, length into breadth into height, that means of a cuboid, that means volume of a cuboid when we calculate, length also in meter, breadth also in meter, and height is also in meter, so therefore length cube. Similarly velocity meter per second, that is length t to the power minus 1, acceleration meter per second square, that's why L t to the power minus 2. Okay, next we have work or energy. Similarly work already we have I told you in that interactive class also. Work, when we calculate, that means force into displacement. Force we have ml t to the power minus 2, and displacement is L. So when we multiply this into L, then we get ml squared t to the power minus 2. Okay, so power, again when we calculate power equals to W by T. Okay, so W by T. Now W, that is work, we have ml squared t to the power minus 2, and time, so here we will be getting ml squared t to the power minus 3. Okay, so likewise we will be calculating for pressure, linear momentum, and impulse also. So these are the list. So these dimensions you need to remember, because you might be asked that what is the dimension of angular velocity, that is t to the power minus 1. What is the coefficient of velocity, that is ml to the power minus 1 t to the power minus 1. So until and unless, so in more and more chapter we will go through, like now we are in units and measurements, so slowly I will be teaching other chapters also. So likewise we will be learning more new formulas, so that formulas we can relate with this chapter and we can get the dimension. Okay, like for example, if we need to calculate the gravitational constant, we know gravitational force equals to G m1 m2 by r square, right? So r square, when we calculate this one, so if we cross multiply, then we will get the value of G, that is G equals to G f into r divided by m1 into m2. So when we calculate m1 into m2, the force, we will put the dimension here, radius means L, m1 and m2 that we will put in here mass, that means m square, and we can easily calculate the gravitational constant. You see here gravitational constant is given in the list. So this is the gravitational constant here, m to the power minus 1 L cube T to the power minus 2. Same we have here homogeneity principle, that means principle of homogeneity, generally we call it as. So in principle of homogeneity states that so dimension of left hand side equation must be equals to dimension of right hand side equation. So likewise any equation we can easily prove whether it is correct or wrong. Like for example, if we have v equals to u plus at, right? If we have, so what is v? V means final velocity. What is its unit? That means ml t to the power minus 1, that means m is 0. Okay, so this is the dimension because velocity is meter per second, mass is not there, so I have marked it 0 here. Next, so this is RHS, sorry, this is LHS. Now in RHS, when we calculate in the RHS, what we have, RHS we have u plus at, that means u is in initial velocity, its dimension is also mlt to the power minus 2, and at a we have mlt to the power minus 2 into t. So when you will calculate into t, that means minus 1 plus 1. So minus 2 plus 1 will get minus 1. Ultimately, we will be getting here mlt to the power minus 1. So this is also mlt to the power minus 1. This is also mlt to the power minus 1. And at, this total is also mlt to the power minus 1. So we say that left hand side dimension is equals to right hand side dimension. So this equation is dimensionally correct. So likewise we can prove any equation, we can check its correctness, whether it be s equals to ut plus half at square or v square minus u square equals to 2as. So this one we can use homogeneity principle. So not only we can calculate the correctness of any equation, we can also determine the formula for any equation, or we can convert one units from one system to another system by using this concept, homogeneity of principle. So if you have this Eschand book with you, so in Eschand book you will be finding these notes are given, the definition of dimension. Okay, so why we use physical quantities, what are dimensional constant, non-dimensional constant. So these notes you will be learning from your book itself. So same as the what are the dimension of different quantities. So here you see one example is here, how to calculate the dimension of capital G here. So just now I told f equals to g m1 m2 by x square, that is r square. If you cross multiply and if we substitute the value, then we will get the capital G dimension. So these are the few limitations of dimensional analysis. So if it is not visible here, you see the resolution is not so good. You can see from your book itself, already I have told you in the interactive class. Okay, so 2 or 3 limitations and 3 uses you can prepare from your book, whichever book you have. So you see this type of list you might have seen, you have to remember the formula. So uses of dimensional equations. Okay, and now here I will be teaching you how to convert one system into another. So conversion of one system to another, you see, for example, let me take this example. So you see here, these questions already we have solved in the interactive class. Suppose we need to convert one physical quantity from one system to another, or let us consider this is our question. We have to calculate 72 km per hour to meter per second. Already I told you we have to use this formula n1 m1 l1 t1 to the power a, b and c equals to n2 m2 to the power x, l2 to the power x and t2 to the power c. You see, actually it is n1 m1 l1 t1, and here we have a, here we have b and here we have c. must be equals to N2, M2, L2 and T2. Okay, so again we have A, B and C. So this unit which you see in the left hand side, this unit is what is given in the question. Okay, and this one N2 you need to find. So this unit from here you have to change to this unit. Like for example, if you want to change the SI unit to CGS unit, so SI unit terms all you will be writing here in the left hand side, and in the right hand side which you have to find that unit you have to note down. So your formula will stands like this: N2 equals to N1 M1 by M2 to the power X, L1 by L2 to the power Y, T1 by T2 to the power Z. So in place of X, Y, Z you can take it in terms of A, B, C also. Okay, so meaning remains same. So you see here one question is given: find the number of dyne in 1 Newton. So we have to convert dyne into 1 Newton. So dyne is a CGS unit and Newton is the SI unit. So dyne and Newton, these are the units of force. So the dimensional formula for force is ml t to the power minus 2. So what is our A or X? X is a 1. What is our Y or B? That is also 1. And what is our C or Z? That is minus 2. So once we know the X, Y and Z value, here you see it is given. So m1 by m2, m1 was here by m2. Now you see one thing here. So question was find the number of dyne in 1 Newton. That means we were given the SI unit and we have to find the CGS unit. So m1 by m2 you see here, m1 in Newton it is SI unit, so it will be 1 kg, and m2 we have to find in dyne, that's why it is in gram. So 1 kg equals to 1000 gram. So gram and gram gets cancelled, we get 1000. Similarly L1 by L2, meter by centimeter, 1 meter equals to 100 centimeter. So L1 by L2 we have 100. T1 and T2 both are in seconds, so we get 1. Now these values, this m1 by m2, L1 by L2 and T1 by T2, these all values we will be substituting in this formula. That is N2 equals to N1 m1 by m2 to the power X, L1 by L2 to the power Y and T1 by T2 to the power Z. And X, Y and Z we have the values here, that is X is 1, Y is 1 and Z is minus 2. So once we substitute here we will get the total answer, that is the N2 which we are calculating, that is 1 Newton equals to how much dyne? That is given here 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay, so likewise we will be calculating for other units also. So previous question was we were converting one system into another, and here we will be calculating the formula. Okay, so here is the solution. You see, I will just dictate the question here. So we have to calculate the formula, or we have to derive the formula for force when an body is moving in a circular path, having mass m, having velocity v and moving in a circle with a radius r. Okay, so I repeat the question. Question states that derive a formula for a force experienced by a body moving in a circular path having mass m with velocity v and moving in a circle with a radius r. So we are going to calculate that formula. So first of all, you see what we have written here: F arrow F directly proportional to m to the power a, v to the power b and r to the power c. That means in the question it is written that force is depending upon mass, it is depending upon velocity and it is depending upon radius. So F is directly proportional to m to the power a, v to the power b, r to the power c. So we need to write here a, b, c on the top. Now when this proportionality sign goes away, we will be getting k, so any constant k here. So our equation becomes F equals to k, m to the power a, v to the power b, r to the power c. Okay, so in the question already it is written that force depend upon mass, so we wrote m. It depends upon velocity, so we wrote v, and we wrote that means the body is moving in a circular path, so it is depending upon radius also, so r. And above mvr we wrote a, b and c because we don't know what is the dimension, what will be the power. Now in the next step, that is the third step, you see force, we will write its dimension, that is m1 l t to the power minus 2. So this is the dimension of force, k as it is. So mass means m only, velocity means l t to the power minus 1. We'll put in a third bracket here, and it will be in b, and radius is in length, so we have l to the power c. Now we will combine all the elements like m to the power a, l we have, here we have l to the power a, and here we have l to the power c. So we'll be getting here b plus c, right? L to the power b and here l to the power c. So l to the power a, or here l to the power b plus c will be getting, right? So l we have here b and here we have c, that means l to the power b plus c. And t we have b here, so that means t to the power minus 1 into b, that means b into minus 1 will be have t to the power minus b. So these are the terms. Now principle of homogeneity states that, so left hand dimension must be equals to right hand dimension. So in a left hand dimension we have m to the power 1, and right hand dimension we have m to the power a, that means a equals to 1. So we have a equals to 1, right? Next we have b plus c. In the right hand side we have l to the power b plus c, and left hand side we have l to the power 1, that means b plus c equals to 1. Similarly, right hand side we have t to the power minus b, and left hand side we have t to the power minus 2, that means minus b equals to minus 2, so b equals to 2. So we know b equals to 2, we know a equals to 1, so if we substitute here we will get the value of c. So after getting the value of a, b and c, we will substitute in this equation, equation number 2. Okay, so in this equation we will substitute here, so we will get f equals to k m to the power a was 1, so m to the power 1, and v to the power b, so b we have square, so we'll write here square, and r to the power minus c, that is minus 1 here, so r to the power minus 1. So our formula stands with f equals to mv square by r. Okay, so this is how we derive any equation or the formula for a given physical quantity. So note that in the question there should be given that physical quantity depends upon what factors, and whatever factor is given you write on the top a, b and c. So and put the dimension and equate left hand side equals to right hand side, so we can easily calculate the dimension or dimensional formula for a given physical quantity. Similarly, one question you can see in your screen. It is given that the mass m of the largest stone that can be moved by the flowing river depends upon the velocity v, density rho, and acceleration due to gravity g. Using dimension, prove that m equals to k v to the power 6 rho by g cube. So you see from the question it is clear that mass depends upon velocity. First of all, it depends upon velocity, next it depends upon density, next it depends upon acceleration due to gravity. So that is why first of all we will be getting here m is directly proportional to velocity, density and acceleration due to gravity, and on the top we will be writing a, b and c, right? Now we know mass means m, and this proportional sign will get k, and velocity will be having l t to the power minus 1, right? So l to the power minus 1, and on the top we will be having a. So likewise we will be writing for velocity, we will be writing for density, and we will write for acceleration due to gravity, right? So once you write all the dimension, now equate according to principle of homogeneity. We will equate the dimension of m, l and t on the both the sides, and we will get the value of x, y and z. Okay, so once you get the value of x, y and z, then we will substitute in this equation and we'll get the value. Okay, so you refer your textbook, and with this concept you try to solve few questions, then it will be much more clear. So applications of dimensions. So where we use the dimension, we use to check the accuracy of the physical equation, to change a physical quantity from one system of units to another system, to obtain a relation between different physical quantity. So this one we have checked by principle of homogeneity. We have converted one system into another, and also we have found the relation by deriving the formula. And also we have seen the significant figure. So there are a few rules for calculating the significant figure. Now if there are non-zero terms, that means 4362, so significant figure is 4, and all zeros between are countable numbers, that means 1005, that means significant figure is also 4 here. And here all zeros to the right of the last non-digit are non-significant. Here is said, that means here we have 625, that is 3 significant digit. And here before a non-zero term we will not calculate any significant number, so here again 3 digit significant figure. Now significant figures can be used in algebraic operations also, like we have L1 and we have L2. So when you add, we get 5.826. okay, so 5.826, this can be rounded off to, now the 6 is more than 5, so 2 will be 83. So you see that was 5.83 and here it was 5.826. So up to 2 decimal places we will be calculating this one, right? So actual value was this one, so we will calculating this one. Next, multiplication or division. In multiplication or division also we use this rounding off concept or the significant figure concept. So length into breadth you have, you see, so this is length into breadth. So just up to 1, as the question was to convert this one into 3 significant figure. So 3 significant, when I say, that means 5 1.5. So after 5 we have 6, so 6 is more than 5, so 5 will change into 6. So this is 3 significant figure. And there are certain rules for the significant figure, means how we will be rounding off. So 1.54 is rounded off as 1.5, 2.49 is rounded off to 2.5, 3.55 is rounded off to 3.6. So likewise we round off the numbers. So you need to read these rules so that you can easily understand and you can do the rounding of any significant figures. Now error, the lack in accuracy in a measurement due to limit of accuracy of the instrument or due to any other cause is called an error. So now error can be subdivided into different types of error, like absolute error, relative error we have. So one by one we will discuss now. Absolute error, when I say, that is the difference between the true value and the measured value of a quantity. So that means when you measure anything, that is your true value, but what should be your actual value there, so that difference will give you absolute error. That is the difference between true value and the measured value. Always the measured value seems to be very less than that of true value. Okay, so due to time, so might be the value or the measurement gets disturbed, so always there will get an error. So if a1, a2, a3 are the measured value of any quantity and a is in the experiment performed n times, so n times we have calculated it, so the arithmetic mean will be a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus up to an total divided by n, so where n is the number of experiment done, right? So del a1 is am minus a1, del a2, that is am minus a2, it will be a2 here. Similarly del am is m times when you do del am minus am. So this is the formula for absolute error. So when we say mean absolute error, that is del a1 plus del a2 plus del an total divided by n. And when we say the relative error, the ratio of mean absolute error to the true value. So mean absolute error by true value is said to be as relative error. Okay, so this is the formula. Next we have percentage error, the relative error expressed in percentage. That means first we'll need to calculate the relative error, then divided by total quantity, that is del A bar by AM into 100%. So you need to just remember the definition, right? Hardly it comes for 1 marks or 2 marks, so you need to remember the definition so that you can easily write, or you, if any question comes regarding this relative error, calculate the relative error, so you can easily attempt those questions. So percentage error already we have discussed. Next we have propagation of error. So error in addition or subtraction, so it leads to a propagation, that means movement of error. If the measured value of two quantities of A and B, now let us consider A plus minus del A, that means A is the actual and plus minus del A means that is the change in A. Similarly B plus minus del B means B is the actual value. So there are two quantities, that is A and B, and A plus minus B means B value can increase or decrease, A value can also increase or decrease. So when we'll calculate its addition or subtraction error, that is del X, so plus minus del A by A plus del B by B, so this is the formula. So del X by X means here del A by A total divided by A, okay, and del B by B total divided by B. So this is how we calculate the propagation error. Okay, so on error, some important topics I'm just telling you which you have to learn very nicely. You will learn the definition of error, what is absolute error, what is relative error. These are the important topics. Absolute error, error, right? What is relative error with its formula, and next is percentage error. Okay, so propagation error comes very less. So these are the topics you need to prepare and practice more questions from conversion, like this conversions and all. We have conversion between one system to another. What is the relation between force on this element, or derive any formula. Okay, deriving the formula question comes maximum. So like this we have derived how to get the value of any expression. So these notes you can write in your exercise book. Okay, so till then, thank you. So next class we'll start a new chapter. So till then you make notes in your exercise book and practice few questions, and if you have doubt you let me know, so I'll try to solve those questions. Thank you.